Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Planet AP. If you're new here, it's crazy out here, but you're gonna love it. Today, what I'm gonna be talking about is something that a lot of you have commented about, which is manifesting physical traits, specifically height. Okay, I mean, obviously it goes on to all physical traits that you've commented about, but I have seen an unholy number of comments and DMs and emails about, Anna, how do I manifest height? How do I manifest height? How do I manifest height? And then finally today I read this really long comment. This person, they were like, I've been trying to manifest height ever since I learned about manifestation, and maybe it's because I've been insecure about it since my childhood, but like that's the one thing I want to manifest, and so on and so forth. And so if you're one of those people, if you want to manifest a physical trait, if you want to manifest height or something like that, this video is for you. And if you just like listening to me and my buttery smooth voice, you can keep watching too. Okay, so we're gonna start over here, right? Over here. Everything at the fundamental level is energy, right? You and I, we are energy. Everything in this world is energy. We know it. We know it. That's it. We know it. All right. And including you and me. So we are not human beings who have spiritual experiences once in a while. We are spiritual beings who are having a human experience. So this physical body that we're in is a vessel for our soul. Our soul is eternal. Our soul was created a long time ago. Our soul has been for a very long time. It will continue to be for eternity, which we cannot comprehend because our mind is time. But I do not want to go on this tangent. There is a mosquito. There has been an army of mosquitoes after my blood this night. What can I do? My blood is just that sweet. Anyways, so what was my point? Souls are eternal, right? So we know that this human experience is a temporary one. It's, we come and we go. And if you're coming to my content looking for quick fixes, if you're coming to my content and you're like, all right, I'm gonna learn a manifestation hack and I'm gonna get taller overnight. If you're coming to my content with the intention to get one thing, with all due respect, with all my love, I just want to say that this is not the channel for you because I am not in the business of that. All right. I'm in the business of truth. I'm in the business of honoring you with integrity. I am in the business of showing you the mirror and telling you things that are uncomfortable truths, but someone's got to do it. All right. And it's me. Hi. I am the solution. It's me. All right. So your higher self, you've got a soul, you've got a spirit that is, you'd call it a higher self, your soul, whatever. And then there's your physical body, right? Now, the word that I want to really emphasize on for starters is insecurity. Now, insecurity, the essence of that word establishes the fact that there's something wrong with me, right? That I do not okay, cool, God created me, but he missed. I was meant to be 6 foot, but I am 5. I'm gonna tell you guys something really funny actually about my height. So back in when I was maybe 17, 18, 19, okay, 19 or 20 or something, right? I think it was probably somewhere around that time. I used to go to this gym and, the woman, she measured my height and she was like, you're 5'4", and I was like, bet. And then I started living like a 5'4" girly, and I met so many people over the years, and we'd talk about height, and I'd be like, oh, I'm 5'4", and they'd be like, no, I'm 5'4", and I'm taller than you. And I'd be like, no, you're tripping. I'm 5'4", I'm 5'4", I'm 5'4". Anyways, last year, I think this was last year, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. But anyway, I started going to a different gym, and I hired this personal trainer, and they were like, we're gonna measure your height. And I was like, oh, I already know I'm 5'4". And he's like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And they're like, no, you are not. And I was like, you're tripping because I am. My height was measured, right? And so they were like, okay, let's measure our height. And I take off my shoes and I find out I'm 5. I'm 5. I'm not even 5'2", I'm 5, And I was shocked. I was like, and my friends, when I told them, I was like, you can't believe it. And they're like, we thought you knew. But yeah, anyways, a funny height story. But point is that that didn't take away anything from me, and it didn't give me anything either. I mean, we have to understand that this human body, God created all of us exactly how we're meant to be. Can we be fitter? For sure. Can we take care of our health better? For sure. But when it comes down to manifesting physical traits, it is very, very, very important to understand what energy are you approaching this from? Because here's what it is. Why do you want to grow taller? Now, this person whose comment that inspired me to create this video to begin with, she specifically said that I've been insecure about it since my childhood. Now, if one thing we all know about manifestation so far is that there's two, ends of a stick when it comes to manifestation. Abraham Hicks, right? There is you manifesting something from the lack of it, meaning, oh, I don't have this, so I want to have this, right? So the larger emotion, the larger feeling in your body is that of lack. And so you keep experiencing the lack of it. In fact, you keep finding reasons in the 3D to, reinforce the lack of it. And the other is that, oh, I'd like to have that. And if I don't, that's okay too. There's this detachment towards it. There's just like, that'd be cool, but like, it's not that deep kind of vibe, right? Anytime you make something that deep, what you do is you give it importance, which means that like you almost in a way idolize it, right? You turn it into an idol. You turn something that is supposed to be neutral, because everything in reality is meant to be neutral, even height. And so, just because if I grow taller like this does not mean that I will have a whatever, right? Like, I'm not gonna be cooler just because I'm tall. You can, if you want to be tall, there's so many other ways. I mean, you could have a taller attitude. You could just like, tall person attitude. It's such a random train of thought. Anyway, so height, right? Now, if you're saying I like it, cool. But if you're saying I don't feel good enough as I am, therefore I need this thing to make me feel complete. What you're saying is that, well, okay, cool, God created me and everything, and sure, God created, everything to be perfect as it is, but, not me. I'm the exception to the rule. I was, the, black sheep. I was the ugliest production. I was the production that was faulty. Why? Why? I'm gonna tell you guys a story. And this will relate with what you said about, I've been insecure about it since my childhood. So when I was born, right, we lived in this apartment, and my freaking mosquito. And, my family, we lived on the ground floor, and my cousin, my dad's brother's family, they lived upstairs. And his daughter and I were the same age. We were maybe a couple of months apart, right? When she was born, she was this, Snow White, fair baby, right? And well, I had this complexion, and I love my skin color, right? But I remember now, right? But I remember when we were kids, there were so many people in our family who would be like, oh, you should tell my mom. I would hear conversations, people telling my mom, oh, you should rub this cream off on Anna, and she's not as fair as her cousin, and she's just not. And I used to feel so crappy about my skin color, because I was like, oh my god, if you're white then you're pretty, and if you're not then you're ugly or some shit, right? And that was such an ingrained belief in me that I started to feel very crappy about myself. I thought wow, look, I wish I was like her. I wish I was pretty like her. She's so effortlessly pretty. She's just white, blah, blah. And I remember when I was maybe 10, 11 or something, I don't know. But one of my mom's sisters, she sent me a Bratz doll, okay? And that Bratz doll was, if you know anything about Bratz, it was Sasha. And she has a darker complexion compared to all the other Bratz. And I remember when I got that doll, and I used to love Bratz. Also, I was a big Barbie collector. I had 40 dolls in a big ass Barbie house and the whole thing. Anyways, so I get this doll, right? And I just was infuriated. Imagine a little kid, right? And she's just pissed off at a doll. And I remember I used to like every time I would play with my dolls, I would discriminate against that little Sasha. And I would like, it sounds so like psychotic almost, but I need you to understand this, right? I would hit her. I would literally like hit her. And when I would play a game with my dolls, I remember that I would always make her the outcast and like the one nobody liked or whatever. But it wasn't about the doll, was it? It was about me projecting my feelings onto it, me projecting my shadow onto it, me projecting my feelings of not enoughness onto this doll and saying, well, because you're not white, you know, you don't belong. Because you don't have this skin color, you're not pretty, nobody likes you, blah, blah. But it was not about her, it was about how I had been feeling because of the conditioning of our society. I mean, think about it, right? Like, there's so many different creams and beauty products that are sold to women, and they're like, oh, like skin whitening this and whitening that. And like, you know, that was at that time, like that was a bigger era where this whiteness was very celebrated in our culture, where it was like, oh, like do this to make the baby whiter, because apparently, like, you know, looking white means looking pretty, and that's such BS. And the reason I share that with you is because when I was growing up, I used to think that I needed to like look whiter, right? And the truth is that because I thought that that would make me look prettier. But the truth is that all I needed to do was accept and love myself as who I am, because God does not make mistakes. God did not like make me like a faulty little piece. That's such BS. And when we're looking to manifest specific physical traits or whatever, it usually comes from a place of not enoughness, unworthiness. Because someone made you feel crappy about something about yourself, and you just spend your whole life fixating on it, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm not even good enough. I'm not even pretty. If I don't have that height, nobody's gonna like me. Nobody's gonna this, nobody's gonna that. But like there's evidence of all sorts of heights of people who have like, you know, who get everything. And like there is no comparison. You are one of one. And it is so damaging and disrespectful to the perfection that you are for you to feel like, you know, I need to be anything other than who I am. And I understand the sentiment behind it. And I even understand that it's not even just you, like it is the societal conditioning, because the state of the world that we live in, right? Everyone is always selling this idea of more. Oh, you need more this, more that. And like, you know, put a lip filler. If your butt doesn't look good, like get a surgery. You know, then fix this up. And like, you know, people are doing all sorts of treatments and plastic surgery, blah, blah. And it all because they don't feel enough. Now, plastic surgery reminded me, there's this book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I think I packed it, or I would have shown it to you. But that book was written by this guy, like who'd been like a plastic surgeon for like over, I don't know how many years and stuff, right? And he was like a really great at what he did. But he said he conducted like this research over years, and he found out that, he said, one of my biggest learnings, and as a plastic surgeon, was that there would be people who would come in and someone would say, oh, my nose is too fat, or like my face is this, and my da-da-da, and can you remove this, can you fix this, can you fix that? And he said ultimately some people, when they came in for the fixing and they got that thing fixed, what changed was not about the physical attribute, but rather how they felt inside. It was their self-image. And the deeper behind that is your self-concept, right? Because there were many people who would come in for surgeries and they would get the surgery, but still they didn't feel like they were enough. So it's not about the physical traits. That's such a 3D thing. It's all about your self-concept. It's about your self-image. It's how you view yourself. Because here's the thing. Nobody can make you feel insecure about yourself if you don't already have a reason to feel that way within yourself. If you don't already say those things about, like, to yourself. And I gave this example once before, but I don't know. But like, this is one of the most powerful examples and ways I can put this into perspective for you. Let's say that you come up to me and you say, Anna, I hate your blue skin. and I am aware of what my skin looks like, right? So do you think I'm gonna be pissed off by that? Do you think I'm gonna be like, oh, screw you? Or I'm gonna start crying and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that to me. I can't believe I'm so like triggered by that. No, I'm gonna be like, honey, go check your eyes. I don't have blue skin. Let's say you say that to me 20 times a day. Do you think I will flinch because you said that? No, because I know how I am. I know who I am. I know what I look like. And I know I don't have blue skin. So to me, it's like, the example is like if a madman in the middle of a rainstorm says it's not raining, doesn't mean it's not raining. Just because his perception of reality isn't congruent with reality itself doesn't mean it's right. So similarly, the only reason you feel insecure about whatever trait that you have is only because some part of you believes that to be true, believes that just because I'm not like taller, I'm not good enough, believes that, oh, just because I'm not skinnier, I'm not good enough. Look, it's great to want to have a dream body. It's great to want to have like whatever it is that you want to have. But what's even better is to recognize that in all shapes and forms of you, you are still perfect because you are a spiritual being. That you're always worthy just because you are. And the beating of your heart, the breath that you have in every moment is evidence of it. And I think you should watch this movie called, what was the movie? I watched this movie recently. What was it called? Blanked out. But let me tell you the gist of that movie, right? I'll put the name in the description below. But here's what happens, right? There was this girl, and she used to like feel really crappy about herself, and like, she used to think that like I'm not good enough, and like I'm so ugly and I'm so fat, I'm so this, blah blah. And then she has some sort of incident where after that incident, only when she would look at herself in a mirror, she would see like some like hot baddie, right? But actually, in reality, she looked exactly how she used to look like. And now, once she starts to see her reflection as something completely different, she starts to move with a different level of confidence. She starts to like be like, like, obviously I look like that. Like, obviously I'm that girl, right? I'm that woman. And she started to own herself. And everyone around her was like, who the is she? Like, wow, like what is your energy? What is this energy? Like, slay, right? Everyone was drawn to her. And in actuality, nothing about her had changed. No physical trait had changed. But it was just how she saw herself in the mirror that had changed. And so the reason I share that with you is because this is not about you being taller or shorter or, flatter stomach or like bigger eyes or whatever. It's about you looking at yourself and being like, screw what the makeup industry says, screw what freaking Victoria's Secret says, screw what anyone says. Those are unrealistic standards. If you're comparing yourself to bloody airbrushed models on Instagram, then that's the first thing you're doing wrong. God like created you in perfection, and you're out here saying, okay, well, just because I don't have a Photoshop body, just because I've been conditioned to think that there's something so wrong with me or blah, 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 means that like, I'm not just good enough as I am. No, you're perfect as you are in all shapes and forms, in all phases of your life, in all, manifestations of your being. And that's the hill I'm going to die on because, I truly believe that like we're meant to celebrate one another. We're meant to uplift one another. I'm not saying like, if you have unhealthy habits or whatever, don't cut them down. Like just, you're perfect. No, do nourish yourself. Do honor yourself. Do love yourself enough to do those things. But you don't come to the space to change something about who you are because you don't think that that's worthy. It doesn't matter. Like someone said, to be a model, you have to be a certain height or something like that, right? That's why I want to manifest height change or whatever. That's a 3D law. And as long as you're believing that you are accepting that reality into yours. As long as you are saying, yep, that's true, so I need to be taller because models, blah, blah, perpetuate. But the whole purpose of us being here is to say that, like, there are no laws, there are no rules. The 3D is supposed to bend to your will, bend to your conviction. Your reliance needs to be on God. Your reliance needs to not be on the agency that says grow taller. It should be on the God that is the doer of everything, who will change anyone's mind for you. So if you want that job, you don't ask them, you don't rely on them, you rely on God. You go like, okay, well, God, you created me, so you're gonna do it for me. I don't care how. Watch how the world moves for you. You don't need to change anything about who you are just to fit in, just to be more accepted. Is there room for evolution for us? Yes. But to go like, oh, well, I need surgery for this, and I need this, and I need that. I need fillers here, and I blah, blah, blah. Dude, that's just a physical manifestation of your body. You are an innately worthy being, right? Because here's the thing. There's going to be like different colored people in the world. These are just different flavors of vessels in the world. None of us look the same, right? We're all different. We're all unique in our own way. We have this uniqueness that is just special to us. It's unique to us. It's who we are. It's who this vessel that you were given specifically. And everyone's given a different vessel, but different doesn't mean better or worse. When I say that you're unique, you are one of one, you are an icon, you are a legend, there's nobody on the planet like you. That's true, because nobody is, and you're not like anyone else either. There's nobody like me, there's nobody like you. We're all one of one. We're all unique in our own ways. And we always get to celebrate this uniqueness, celebrate this diversity in our beings. Celebrate the magnificence of God, the artistic brilliance of God in all the ways that we are so unique. That's so special. Doesn't matter if you're tall, because in that same movie, there's a scene where the girl, she fully admires this like really skinny gym girl. And that girl, she's crying over like some guy, and she's like, oh, I feel like I'm not good enough, blah, blah. And the other girl, the protagonist, she's like, you feel like you have everything, right? Because just because someone is taller than you does not mean that they have a good self-concept, does not mean they love themselves, does not mean they're kind to themselves, does not mean they feel good enough. Like, you need to stop giving so much importance to these things. What really matters in life is to live with full acceptance and surrender of who we are, and to live in love, and to live in celebration, not to like compare ourselves to other people. There is no comparison. There is none. This whole idea of comparison and competition and this and that has been fed to us to keep us in fear and control and not enoughness, to keep us from our highest expression. Because here's what happened. Here's what probably happened, right? This is you right now, and these are all the experiences in the past where you experienced pain for being you. And you adopted beliefs or thoughts or whatever that said, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I need to look a certain way to be perfect. These are all BS lies. They're just unresolved energy. This is not aligned, manifestation, and this is not aligned living. This is you setting yourself up to suffer more. You need to and these are shadows, just like mine was. And I had to integrate that shadow, and I had to look at myself in the eye and say, babe, you're beautiful, you're perfect. I had to fall so deeply in love with myself and say, honey, I love you. The validation that you're looking from the outer world, the validation you're looking from someone else, the approval you want from someone else, there could be a million people that validate you, that approve of you, that do whatever of you, and you could still feel crappy about yourself, because it is not their validation or approval you seek, but your own. It is not them you seek, but yourself, and an extension of that, but God. So you need to take everyone and their moms off the pedestal and fall in love with yourself. Look at yourself until you can look at that person in the mirror and just be so in awe of just how perfectly God created you. The physical body is just a vessel, but our energy is where it's at. Confidence is not in how you look, it's how you feel, how you move, how you carry your own darn self. How do you carry yourself? If you're like shoulders dropped and you're walking around downtown, walking slow, and you're just like, yeah, like, you know, nobody look at me. Okay, but if you're like, you know what? I have the perfect height. I am God's most beautiful creation. I was created by God, and that is why I am perfect as I am, and I love who I am. And when you are in love with yourself, when you are in love with all aspects of yourself, you glow different. You radiate this light. Everyone's drawn to you. You know? You gotta unsubscribe from the narrative of not enoughness. You are perfect as you are. So the questions I want you to, this is just a shadow aspect of this pain that happened, right? There was probably a little baby inside you that was told that you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. And that baby's like, it's over here. This baby is looking at you. Hey, accept me, love me, validate me. And you're just like, no, I want others to give this validation to me. I need to look a certain way for other people. I need to fit in. No, you need to not fit in their versions of you. You need to fit into your own authentic skin. You need to heal the relationship with the little baby in you who felt like they were not enough because it was so unkind that they were made to feel that way. And that's a relationship only you can heal with you, right? So I want you to ask yourself, what will being taller mean for you, or whatever physical trait it is? Who do you believe you will be once you have it? How would you feel once you have it? And why does it matter? Why do you think it matters? What do you think it's going to give you? Because why do you believe that, like that will add something to your life? See, when we talk about changing our reality or whatever, living from the end, the idea is to know that you are a worthy being innately, and that worthiness. So everything else that you like draw into your reality is an extension of your own worthiness. But like, if you're out here feeling crappy about yourself and you're like, no, I just want to be taller because I hate how I look. No. Okay? No. So be honest with yourself. What is the truth? What would your baby self want to hear? If you had a daughter, if you had if you had a kid that felt that way, what would you say to them? If your best friend felt that way, what would you say to them? Because I can bet on my life you wouldn't tell them, just learn how to manifest a taller height because, yeah, you're right, you're too short. That's ugly. That's not vibes. No. You're not supposed to compare yourself to anyone because there is no comparison, okay? There is no competition. There is nothing. You are home in yourself. What you need to change is not the manifestation, it is the inner world. Okay, you need to work on the self-concept, okay? And if you want to do that together in 4 weeks, you know the vibe. I have Quantum Coach coming up starting April 15th. It will be just the most magical experience you ever have. And I can promise you that, like, you're going to go through so many timeline jumps during that experience, so many aha moments, so many, breaking the old earth, the old planet of yours, the old realities that don't serve you, and actually stepping into your truth, honoring yourself, and fall so madly in love with yourself and have such a strong conviction in God that 3D will have no choice but to bend for you. So I would love to take you through that experience. Secondly, on Friday, 14th March, I don't know why I did that accent, but Friday, we are doing a part 2 of the Law of Delusion, the final delusion. You are the code, okay? I am super excited about it. Links in the description, details are in the description. Sign up, it's free. I'm just so excited to have you there, to serve you there, to share this love with you and share this magic with you, because it is so incredible. It's just so incredible to be in this human experience too, honestly, because I'm packing, right? So I found this old journal of mine. I don't even know what year it's from. But I had this like handwritten suicide note in it, and it said, if I kill myself, read this. And I just, there were so many negative assumptions I'd made about everyone around me. I said, you know, you would be so much better off if I died, and you'd be happy, and you hate me, this, that. And when I look at it, I have so much love and just sadness, like, you know, like grief and like empathy for that girl, for that version of me who I don't recognize as myself, but I know that she existed at some point, and she projected her own self-hate onto the world around her, and she thought everyone hated her, but she was so surrounded and celebrated by love, she just couldn't feel it because she was in a very different frequency. So my, you know, and just reading my journals through the years as I was packing made me realize, like, wow, you know, there were, like, I was knocked unconscious for so many years, and it is such a privilege to even have been knocked unconscious, because I think all of those experiences are why I am here. And truthfully, what I would encourage you to do and to remember in your life is that we're all here to walk each other home, but home is not a place, it is within. We're all here to be evidence of possibility, of unconditional love for one another. And unconditional love says that, hey, you are worthy just because you are. And your humanness does not take away from that worthiness or love or anything at all. And we all deserve to project kindness and love and truth and integrity and, you know, acceptance onto one another, to remind each other that home is within. It's with God. And nothing and nobody in this world can give or take anything to and from you, okay? So I love you, and I hope that this truth lands in your soul. And yeah, bye until next time.